Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law Explaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Ricada of Ricada Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And I completely didn't upload my assets yet. You'll just have to kiss my assets. I'm just kidding. I don't hate you. I just want to save you while there's still something left to save. Hey, guys. How's it going? Sorry to be weird, but I'm a live streamer or whatever. That's what I am. So it's like an identity. Hold on, I'm trying to get the chat to work here. Can you give me a pop out chat, please? Why? Rumble. You're doing me dirty. Okay, we'll do it this way. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Where's the do they have a where's the rants thing? Damn it. I'm so fucking annoyed. Enable large history. Okay. Well. Yeah, I'm going to try and follow along with the Rumble thing. My Rumble Rants plugin is not there, I guess. It should be. Okay. Well, we'll try and keep up. Speaking of which, the Most Banned Queen says, whose report shall we believe? We shall believe Minnesota Public Records. That's cool, I guess. Like, it's just a record. So I guess that's a thing to believe because it's just stating something that happened. I believe in you. That's what I choose to believe, ladies and gentlemen. Pop out what exactly? So I'm setting up my chat windows, and YouTube and Rumble allow you to pop the chats out, so you don't have to have the full window. But when I go to pop out the Rumble chat, it's not actually loading. So I'm not sure where the hell that was. There must have been some update that killed the fucking Rumble Rants extension. Why aren't you doing this? Why is it not there? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Hey, so just got out of the shower. It was nice. It was nice. Enable large history. Is that like people over 16 on TikTok? Oh my God. I hope not. Here we go. Guys, today we have a little bit of a theme going on. We have cops stealing money, and then I wrote Disney being twats on terms of service because a guy died at Disney and they're like, terms of service, bro, you can't sue us, which is funny. That's actually hilarious to me. But like, I guess, well, it's not that funny. It's just funny that Disney is like using this audacity. So we're gonna talk about that, and then there's actually a major Fourth Amendment decision coming out of the Fifth Circuit. Fourth Amendment is one of my favorite amendments, and we will check out how many subscribers Nicola Maxwell has banned for you. Double her wage; it won't cost you anything. Well, that's true; it won't cost me anything. But I also don't have a way to figure out who banned someone. So, but you know what? Say la vie. If someone got banned, they think it's unfair, contact me. I'll probably unban you. But yeah, so anyway, we've got this major Fourth Amendment decision about geo warrants, which I talked about, I believe, like a couple years ago when the case had started. But there's a challenge to geo warranting, I think is what it's called. Effectively, the police will use Google Maps or Apple Maps or Waze or something, and they'll draw like a box on a map, and they'll demand the user data for anyone who is in the box at a specific time. But that's a lot of people who aren't probably involved in a crime. And remember, warrants are for probably going to find evidence of a criminal act when you execute the warrant on a person or their properties or effects, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a big decision on limiting the scope of geo warrants. It's geofenced. That's what it's called. Geofenced warrants. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It's pretty cool thing. It's in YouTube Studio. Okay. I mean, I know how to see who's banned. I just don't know how to see who banned them, but I'll check. I'll check it out. He said, I know a bunch of people got banned a while back because they were talking about a specific report, which has become very popular topic and popularly misunderstood by just about everybody. But that's fine. That's fine. I'll get to talk about it soon enough. But we're going to be talking tonight about cops stealing money, Disney being twats. Now, before anybody gets any stupid ideas, I am not alleging that any cop stole any of my money other than just the amount of money I have to pay to defend myself. That's not really stealing. That's the system. And just because the system is an asshole doesn't mean it's illegal. We're talking about civil asset forfeiture in one instance, and then we're talking about criminal theft in another. These are not in my jurisdiction, so I'm not really worried about that. But some people seem to take things I say as implications, and it's like, well, I'm going to talk about some subjects, and not all of them are implications. So yeah, I hope you're down for it. I hope you're down for the show. It should be, I don't know, moderately entertaining. Nick, I support your right to put anything you want into your body, even your ass, if you're into that. Look, if you can put your ass in your own ass. Was that an Indian song? Put my ass in your asshole. Your ass in my. I still don't understand how to do it. Why am I so stuff? Why am I so things? Do you mean stuffy? I'm not stuffy today. Uh-oh. Better execute a warrant. Anyway. Oh, God. See, here's the problem. We're getting down to the actual time. And the actual time of my hearing, which is 1 week from today, is August 21st. That is an omnibus hearing. I'll briefly talk about it, I guess. I did hear Susan Wojcicki died, and even though I thought she was a shit CEO of YouTube, I do salute her for living. But okay. Even people generally mocking me in video comments get banned. Well, stop banning people, please. He can't stop cope sipping. That's true. Can't stop it. But no, we're getting down to the end, and I've been very quiet. I know some people are critical. Not like it fucking matters. Some people are critical of like what I've talked about or whatever about my case, but really, I've been very, very quiet about my case, and I have to be quiet for another little bit here, and then the case will really kick off at the omnibus hearing on the 21st. An omnibus hearing in Minnesota is the opportunity to address any dispositive pretrial motions, also to address various evidentiary issues and non-dispositive pretrial motions. The omnibus hearing is really for kind of everything. They can be non-contested or contested. Ours is a contested omnibus, which means that there will be something going on, most likely. Obviously, I haven't filed anything. So if I don't file anything, nothing's really going to happen. But there's also an opportunity for the prosecution to make filings of their own. For example, if they're pursuing an aggravated sentence or something like that, they would do this at the omnibus hearing. It's generally just a cleanup job before the trial really gets set. The trial itself isn't calendared yet. That will likely happen at the omnibus hearing. A pretrial hearing date will be set sometime out, and the calendar will kind of fall into place as things go on. But omnibus is for dealing with issues like warrants, issues like probable cause for the arrest or for the charges, issues, just flat out motions to dismiss. Any of that stuff is brought at omnibus, and it's dealt with now rather than being dealt with as trial is approaching. And so that's what's coming up on the 21st of August. I, for one, am excited terrified, don't get me wrong, but also excited because this is, as you know me, I like to talk, do a talk show, like to talk, and I finally get to say some things officially about this through counsel, right? I get to do it through counsel, but I get to actually start, I guess, holding the government to its job, and that's the system. That's the system, and it's an important part of it because the rest of it is just the government fucking you. Like that's the rest of the system is just the government railing you into oblivion and making you want to kill yourself every single day. And they're really good at it. Make no mistake. They're really good at it. The government is an expert at demoralizing and demotivating the populace collectively, but they're also really good at doing it individually as well. If you're ever under a felony indictment, you'll probably know what I'm talking about if you've ever been under one or if you ever end up under one. And if you say, well, not me, not never, and don't ever speak too soon, my friend, life can take some very, very interesting twists and turns. But that being said, that is the first opportunity I will have in my criminal case to start holding the government to its task. Remember, I don't have to do anything in the case. Technically, right? This is all fun legal theory. You do have to do a lot of shit, but I don't have to do anything. The government has to prove the allegations against me and Lady Rackets. That's what they have to do. And this is the first real salvo in that case, is coming up on Wednesday. So looking forward to it because it's about time I get to fucking fire back a little bit. And his case is really interesting. It's actually it's really fucking annoying. It's really fucking annoying not being able to talk about it because it's wildly more interesting than you guys know. And that's not your fault, right? That's not your fault. There's just a lot going on and there's not really access to a lot of the information. And that's fine. But it makes the commentary very myopic. The commentary of anyone has to assume a bunch of things. Well, all of those assumptions are critical elements of the case. And so by making those assumptions, you've decided issues that are going to likely be before the court in some capacity. Now, some of them might be very simple. Some of them are not. Some of them are actually very, very complicated. And some of them are critical to whether or not a case can even proceed. So to discuss my case, you have to make assumptions about those things without the information to do it. And I'm not, again, as I've stated the whole time, I'm not really faulting anyone for that. They don't have the information to make a full-on analysis, so they have to just kind of calls it as they sees it, and what they see is a limited picture. But it'll become a little bit more clear, and really a whole lot can happen on Wednesday, but most of it probably won't happen on Wednesday. The judge has, I believe, 30 days to rule following the omnibus, so it really could be sometime in September where a ruling comes down one way or another, or in multiple different ways, because there could be multiple issues. But like I said, I get to finally fucking say something. And the things that I intend to say are pretty important. So it's good. That's good. D. Watt has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Mike Hunt says Trump brought back civil asset forfeiture. It never really left. But yeah, the practice of civil asset forfeiture did get a boost under Trump. It needs to go away. It's disgusting. Eric PP gifted 5 memberships as well. Thank you so much. People are asking what I'm drinking. Guys, it's just liquor. That's all it is. It's just a giant mug of liquor. It's not like I have a mandatory fucking drug test going on all the time. It's probably just me sneaking liquor. Oh, Between liquor, I'm probably just eating heroin or whatever because I don't comply with my drug tests. Dumb motherfuckers. Mm. Frederick Little, Lady Rackets is doing well. She's doing very well right now, so it's good. Joe Moses says it makes more sense if you think of an ass as a donkey. Yes, if you could put an entire donkey in there. So what I'm drinking, this is my go-to drink. It is sweet tea, Milo's sweet tea to be specific. And this one is vanilla almond milk. Sometimes it's milk and actual vanilla extract. Vanilla almond milk is a nice, easy way to make the drink quickly. Oh, and ice. There's ice in it. But yes, please tell me more. Tell me more about how much I'm cheating on my drug tests. Haven King says, how do you know it's working without testing it by using drugs? Oh, it's fucking amazing. It's amazing. But remember, everybody online knows everything that's going on at all times. And I'm obviously lying about everything. That was sarcastic for the transcript. But yeah, yes. Now, as I stated, ever since we were ordered to comply with drug tests and we were ordered to have no substances, including alcohol. We have been completely off of them. That was, I believe, June 7th. The order was from the bench. And I think that order went into play. I think the written order came down like June 9th. But shocker, when the county tells you what you need to do, you do it. But everybody's very critical about what I did or didn't do before the county told me what to do. Let me give you a little piece of free advice. If the county or the government is involved in some sort of legal action against you, and you run to the government telling them all the things you're going to do to fix your problems, they're just writing it down with smiles on their faces and dicks as hard as fucking diamond. They love for you to say that. And if you have a lawyer who's actually like, by the way, just do everything they say. In fact, preemptively do whatever you think they want you to do. Please, please, please seek different counsel. Please do that. Please do that. I've seen a lot of internet commentary talking about things that I should or shouldn't do. And it is absolutely abysmal legal advice. And it's funny because they act like they know the situation. But please remember, you've made a bunch of assumptions about what the facts are rather than knowing the facts. If you just full fucking hightail it to the government and tell them, I'm going to do this and this and this, they're like, why? Why would you do that? It's like if a cop pulls you over for something, you know why I pulled you over? Well, I'm drunk driving and speeding, but I'm going to go right to rehab. Actually, your taillight was out, but thanks. So anyway, but yes, as stated, been fully compliant and complicit with the county with once they told us what to do, we were happy to comply. It's amazing. That being said, again, that was in the family law case, but the criminal case is still ongoing, and the criminal case will be continuing at least through August 21st. It is possible that something could happen on August 21st. There are a couple options. There are plea deals that could be like a plea could be taken. Doesn't have to be a plea deal. Some people think there has to be a plea deal, but people can just go in and plead guilty. That can happen. The other thing that could happen to have a disposition on the case would be if the judge made a ruling from the bench, maybe in our favor, dismissing it. That's a pretty unlikely outcome, mainly because any issues that would present themselves in our case would be complicated issues and the judge would most likely be taking them under advisement and having, again, the rule is 30 days to rule on that, to rule on any of those motions. So that would be the other possible alternatives on the 21st. Again, most likely it's going to continue into September at least, because of that. But hey, who knows? It's a wild card. And you guys will be kept somewhat posted. I'm guessing the records of what happens on that day are going to be public. You guys will probably know them about the time I do. It's not like I get special access. Stacy Q says, Nick, I am so proud of you. You're as handsome as ever. I know they screwed you. XOX. I know. And they didn't buy me dinner or dessert. They didn't even swipe right. They just showed up. It was really rough. Eric July's favorite chicken seasoning. Thank you for the donation. Nick looks red with underlying seethe. I bet he rages at 49 minutes. No, dude, I'm just a million degrees with a heat allergy. What gang am I going to join if I go to jail? The Booty Warriors, baby. All right. With that, let's get into these news stories. Very laid back. I hope you guys have some fun with these stories like I do. Everybody loves stories about the police stealing stuff. Holy shit. This first thing we're going to talk about here is a little thing called civil asset forfeiture, and this is from Indiana. Some of you may be familiar with civil asset forfeiture. It's where the police find something and they decide that something took part in a crime that they don't have to define or prove or even allege, and they take the thing. They say it's mine. And then it's theirs. Because that's how it works, right? Like the police go, well, there was a crime somewhere, and this stack of money must be part of the crime somewhere. Therefore, it's mine. Where I'm from, it's called theft. W Boot. Nice trap, buddy. I haven't been suggesting that in any streams. People take, they do this a lot. This is what I was talking about earlier. My topics tonight are not implicating or implying anything. These are actually just separate topics, unrelated to my case entirely. There's very little in the realm of forfeiture in my case. So I can't, not really going to talk about it, but there's no allegations. I don't think the cops took any of my money. No, the cops took all of my money. They took millions, just stacked up in piles. But no, people do this. I'll be talking about subject, and then someone will have a theory about something that is related to that subject, and then people will say, Nick talked about this. This other person said this. Nick believes that. Well, one, whether I believe it or not is irrelevant. The real relevance is, did Nick say that? No, Nick didn't say that. I have not made any of the allegations people are saying. What's funny is I did ask people to, like, if you found me actually making that allegation, please let me know. I would like to know, but I've been very careful not to allege that at all. All of my allegations will go into pretrial motions or will pop up at trial or whatever. That's where that's dealt with, not on a live stream. So it's hard to talk about criminal law when you have a criminal case if everybody assumes that when you're talking about it at all, you're talking about your own case, but I'm not. And for example, one of the things people are harping on is I've said this for years, but people have short-term memory. They've said that they talk about this thing that I said about you don't consent to a search. This is on Chrissy's show. You don't consent to a search. The cops are going to search your house, right? If they show up and they have a warrant or whatever, they're going to search your house. Even if they don't have a warrant and they want to search your house, they'll do it. Don't consent. You politely decline consent, but they're going to execute the search. Okay. You don't consent because you don't know necessarily what anybody has brought into your house, your car, your person, your pants. These cases do come up quite often where someone borrows a pair of pants or is driving someone else's car, or a friend rides in their car. Something slips out of their pocket. Someone leaves something in a house. It doesn't really matter what the circumstances are. Someone leaves something in someone's house, and now they're looking like they're in possession of the thing, and now they have to fight to prove that they weren't. Okay? That happens with regularity, or at least it's a legal argument that people make with regularity. This is why you don't consent to searches, though, because if the search is facially invalid, then what they find during the search is similarly invalid. So you just add that extra layer of protection that the Fourth Amendment grants you and says, do you have a warrant? If they say yes, you don't consent to the search, but you don't resist the search. Don't do that. You might not go home. But that being said, you don't consent, because once you consent, they no longer need reasonableness. They don't need a warrant. They don't need reasonableness. The Fourth Amendment no longer applies once you've consented to the search. But the reason you do that is because you may not know the thing. If you took your car into the shop and a mechanic was working on it and he dropped a bag of meth underneath your seat that got replaced, you may not know that. But it may get found in a search that you consented to, and now it looks like you're driving around with meth. Terrible fucking plan. The easier thing is to not consent to the search. And then if they find that, but the search is unreasonable, you have another weapon in your toolbox to get that taken care of. How do you not consent, but also not resist? I don't consent to the search. And they go, we're going to search you. You can say, I understand. I don't consent to the search. But I understand. They're going to search you, though. Like, eventually they're going to. But as long as you're not an asshole. Look, guys, if I didn't get beaten or shot by the cops, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. Because I'm a dick. I owns it. But they're not out there. Most cops, they're not out there to shoot people or anything like that. They'll just ask. They'll ask for, hey, can I search it? Can I check your vehicle? No. Oh, okay, cool. It's on cops all the time. You can watch cops. Don't take my word for it. Watch cops. Watch them do it. They'll ask people for consent with regularity. They have some feeling, maybe there's a smell. They can't necessarily say, oh, it's definitely this or that. They just say, something's amiss here. This guy's driving on that guardrail. Something's wrong. Maybe if I ask him to search his car, he'll say yes. And people do all the time say yes to searches. They consent to them, and that ends up burning them. But a lot of times the cops may not have probable cause for the search. They may not have a warrant. And if the people just politely say, no, thank you, then they'll back off. If they think they're justified, they're going to do the search anyway. But you don't resist them. Don't get shot. Don't get beaten. Don't get tased. Get pepper sprayed if you like it, but that's about it. Let's see. The Iceman 101418 says, Nick, you clearly wouldn't know anything about what good counsel looks like. Ripa certainly didn't feel it after you told him to seek better counsel. Clearly don't know what you're talking about, lol. Okay. I don't know if you're serious or not. But he should have sought better counsel on the trespass issue. Of course, they used an interesting stalking law on Riley. Want to see how that turns out. But that being said, yeah, again, there's, look, you hire a lawyer as a lawyer because you want an outside expert on the law. And they may practice in that practice area that you don't practice in, or they may practice with much more frequency than you do. Like, right? I don't practice. I'm here with you guys. Rarely right now, but normal times and better times, I'm here a little more often, and I'm not taking cases. So I hire someone else to do that work because you need the legal expertise. But there is someone who knows a whole lot about the facts of this case. And that's me. That's me, because I'm obsessive about them. It's all I really think about most days. I just, it kind of eats up your attention span. Let's see. Here we go. Bad Dragonite says, how gay? Very. Very gay. Michael Odo says, love you, Rackets. Looking great, bro. Hey, thanks, Michael Odo. Really appreciate that. Koof says, thank you for not killing yourself. You too, Koof. The day you don't send that message is the day I'm going to be sad. And then Andy Dudash, perfectly fucked up, says, it's a different language. It only sounds familiar. I assume you mean law and law in areas that you don't practice, maybe. Yeah. Yes. Yep. It's even if you're a practicing attorney, if you're talking about a different practice area, you know the language, you might know procedure, you can read the rules, you could do the case, like you can do the research, but someone else who does it every day is going to have hopefully a better grip on the situation. It's not always true. I was talking about this on my last stream, and there will be time to talk about the lawyers that Lady Rackets and I had at the beginning of our child custody case. I mean, they were atrocious, absolutely atrocious. Terrible lawyers who did not in any way have our best interests at play. None. They didn't know us. They didn't try. They didn't prepare. They didn't do any work. They did literally zero work on our case. It was fucking unreal. But that is a story for another day. So anyway, I've yammered on about my case too much. We're going to get into this civil asset forfeiture, and then we'll keep going. I'll probably stray back to it though. Like I said, we're getting along in the process. 7 days till the hearing. I'm getting kind of excited and amped up. I'm pretty embroiled right now in the legal theory around the case and going through the facts over and over and over. It's been something. The Iceman again says, 'twas not serious. I'm poking at the haters whom you constantly prove wrong because you clearly don't know what you're talking about. Love you, man. Oh, thank you. I don't know anymore. The hater I constantly prove wrong right now is just me. It's just me. Name them? What, Dawn Weber and John Mueller? Terrible lawyers. Absolute garbage. Arclight says you picked them. No, I did not. They were appointed counsel. I didn't pick them at all. So, like I said, there will be time to talk about them. It's not now. And yeah. An honest read of those transcripts would show those lawyers were terrible in the fucking courtroom. Absolutely abysmal. And they were worse out of it. That's the truth. But yeah, anyway, proof's in the pudding. Once we got new counsel, things moved so much faster, so much better, and directly in our favor. It was great. All right, here we go. Let's get to this news story here. Look at this. We watched you, Nick, who totally did not jerk off on stream. Or dude, I wish I was jerking off on stream. You have no idea. Indiana police use state law to steal money without cause. Evan McMahon, Indianapolis Star. Look at, guys, I didn't know Vin Diesel had 8. Vin Diesel had what I had. It's Vin Diesel on the Nick Rekieta diet. Look at this poor dude. God, oh man, that sucks. He lost his truck to civil asset forfeiture. He lost his white cell count to AIDS. Soon he'll be in U.S. Supreme Court trying to get it back. Tyson Timms lost his truck to civil asset forfeiture 5 years ago after he pled guilty for selling drugs. Let's look at this. Our case is, what do you call a guy who graduates last in his class at law school? An attorney. Wrong. You call them a Juris Doctor, not an attorney until you're admitted. I think that's how it goes. I don't remember. Who knows the fucking rules? Who cares? Who cares? All right. Oh, man. Dude, don't wear the earrings. No. Oh, look at how sweaty his upper lip is. If you're sending your packages via FedEx, beware. The state of Indiana could be seizing them without any warrant or probable cause. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. According to a lawsuit filed by the Institute for Justice, police have been seizing FedEx packages containing cash taking the cash under civil asset forfeiture. Civil asset forfeiture is a process by which police can take anything suspected of being involved in a crime without a warrant or conviction and then keep the loot for themselves. Isn't this fun? Isn't this just great? What a plan. This is perfectly legal for them to do. Perfectly legal. In this case, it's happening at the nation's second largest FedEx hub located at the Indianapolis International Airport. Police dogs sniff packages and flag those expected to contain cash. Officers then remove the tape, rummage through the package, and take the cash for themselves if they find any. Ostensibly, the police can do so because they perceive the cash is connected with a crime, even if no actual crime is identified. There are horror stories out there about people losing, $100,000 and not having access to that money for years, as they have to pay a lawyer to fight to get it back because the police just say, well, it's involved in drugs. And they're like, what drugs? What crimes? It was involved in something we know, of course it was, therefore. And the person's like, shouldn't you have to prove it? And the police say, no. My hair's all floofy. It's driving me crazy. Jim tells you, says, what's up, bro? Glad to see you streaming again and finding the funny. Hope to get together with you soon. Keep on keeping on, homie. Yeah, man. Sounds great. So this isn't crime fighting. It's an actual crime, a blatant naked theft carried out by uniformed officers. Now, this is an opinion piece. So I think it's a crime too, but it's not actually a codified crime. It's the law. Indiana law requires any asset seized in a civil forfeiture case to go directly to the school fund, likely to mitigate the moral hazard and incentive to steal citizens' assets. But little money is actually going to that fund. Instead, police departments are keeping it for themselves. Yes, police departments just go ahead and use that money for the department. Food, parties, stings for drug buys, things like that. Let's see, keeping it for themselves. And a 2019 Indiana Supreme Court case upheld that. Good job. Allowing police, prosecutors, or private lawyers contracted to carry out the cases to keep a minimum of 90%. Just the 90%, though. No big deal. Indiana, by the way, is the only state that allows prosecutors to contract out asset forfeiture cases to private attorneys who then get a cut of the proceeds. Guys, get your fucking law degree and get to Indiana. Holy shit. Get in there straight out the gate. Damn. Wow. In 2023, $6.6 million was stolen by the police in asset forfeiture. Of that, only 5% went into the school fund, but 30% went to prosecutors and attorneys and 64% to law enforcement agencies. Aw, that's nice. In this particular case, California jewelers Henry and Min Chang made a $42,825 bulk sale to a retail customer in Virginia, which is paid for in cash. However, the package containing the cash was routed through Indianapolis, where the canines flagged it. The officer seized it, and Marion County stole the money. Just take it. Just take the money. No big deal. It's not their business or their livelihood or anything. Their money. Let's see. Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears has still not identified a crime that was committed, but he has begun forfeiture proceedings to allow his office in the Indianapolis Metro Police Department to keep the cash. Often the reason civil asset forfeiture is justified is because large amounts of cash are sometimes used to buy drugs. So therefore, anyone carrying or mailing cash is automatically suspected of being involved in the drug trade and thus involved in a crime. Hey, remember whenever anybody talks about like crypto or they talk about the ability to control banking and stuff, people are like, I'll just carry cash. That's a hoot. The government hates cash. The government hates cash. They hate that you have cash. They hate that you use cash. They hate that cash allows you to transact without them knowing about it. They hate that cash flows freely from one hand to another. They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. It's a product of a bygone era for them, and it is nothing but a hassle that gets in the way of their control. If you think you're going to carry around cash in a cashless society, you'll automatically be a criminal, because why? Oh, why would you carry around this bulky money when you could just have a little card, or you could just tap your phone on your groceries penis or whatever? Like, you could just tap to pay whatever you want, right? Like, you just shove your phone in the stripper's butt crack and just pay that way. Why would you have cash? You don't need to do it anymore. If you have cash, you must be buying drugs, obviously. Or you're paying off a politician, but that's legal. So you're probably buying drugs. And since you're probably buying drugs, they don't have to prove that you're buying drugs. They just have to feel like it, and they just get to take it. But people think that they're going to be cash warriors in a cashless society. Best of luck to you. I mean, if you get pat down, they're going to start taking your money. It's the way it goes. That's what they want to do. So it's, yeah, it's not ideal, so to speak, to have these, to have cash in a cashless society. However, people carry cash and transfer cash for a number of reasons that would never be involved in crime. Yeah, cash is presumptively non-criminal. That's the amazing thing to remember, is that cash is presumed non-criminal, and yet it's just determined to be criminal because they want it to be. But there's nothing even inferredly criminal about having cash. In this case, it was carrying out a legitimate business transaction for which Chang has a bill of sale to prove it. Look, I'll do one apologetic here. One apologetic. The bill of sale doesn't actually mean shit. Like, if they're doing a complicated $40,000 drug transaction, I think they could whip up a bill of sale to make it look like they moved some jewelry. But I don't believe that happened. I think they're legitimate business people. But I mean, like, they've got a bill of sale. Well, yeah. Oh, how do you get one of those? You just type it. Anyway, the Changs are suing Mears in the state of Indiana to get their rightful payment back. It's not a crime to sell jewelry. It's not a crime to use cash, where this is legal tender for all debts, public and private, is clearly written on each bill to pay for a purchase. Now, it's not, but some cash transactions have reporting requirements, especially if they're in excess of $10,000. Presumably, they would have followed any necessary reporting requirements. I'm not an expert on that. I don't know that they would have to do it particularly for a jewelry sale, but maybe they do. But presumably they've done that. This is going beyond that. This is assuming that the cash was used for illegal activity, not legal activity. But here's the thing, man. They're going to pay more than 42 grand to get their 42 grand back. That's the problem with asset forfeiture. Often the assets that are forfeited cost more to retrieve than the assets are worth. Let's see. When their assets are tangled up in forfeiture proceedings, the burden of proof is on the citizen to obtain their money. However, that is extremely difficult because the assets themselves, inanimate objects, are listed as the defendants, and such cases often tie the money up in long and challenging legal proceedings. Yes, in Minnesota, to recover for asset forfeiture, you have to sue the property that they took. It's like if they took your 1996 Ford Bronco, you sue your 1996 Ford Bronco. Hopefully it has a name like Gary or something. And you sue your Bronco named Gary, and you're like, I'm suing it. But it's weird, right? Because you can't like depose your car. Can't call it to the witness stand. It's seen some shit, but it can't talk about it. So the whole transaction gets weird. And then the government fights on behalf of your property to stay away from you. It's like, no, sorry. It's It's not me, it's you. That's your property talking to you when the government's saying, it's not me, it's you, and you've got to go. You've got to go now. Let's see, here we go. Not only should the Changs prevail, the Indiana General Assembly should put an end to the heinous practice of civil asset forfeiture, especially in cases where there's no conviction recorded. As powerful agents of the state, the job of the police is supposed to be to protect and serve, not to abuse their office and pilfer and plunder. Evan McMahon is chairman of the Libertarian Party of Indiana. Oh, I wouldn't have read it if I would have known that. No, I'm just kidding. Not really kidding. But no, it's look, it's a solid point. Civil asset forfeiture is a civil fucking problem. It is a universally reviled practice because there is no process that's involved prior to the taking. And there's no just compensation for the taking because they allege that it's part of a crime. So since it's part of a crime, they take it, and then you have to fight to disprove a crime that they don't even have to accuse you of. They don't even have to tell you what it is with any specificity. They could just literally say, well, this is for an illicit transaction. You're just buying hookers, I guess. So that's a question, right? Like if you're flying into Nevada, like what if you're Russell Greer? You're in Utah, you're in Salt Lake City, you're going to get on the bus after your shift at Walmart. You got your $4,000 to go to the Bunny Ranch, and you're going to pay that hooker, Kiara or whatever, to go and have the girlfriend experience. Like everywhere except that county, prostitution's illegal. So just in the act of crossing state lines with $4,000 with the intent to procure a prostitute, technically, you may have a criminal act there, may have a federal sex crime going on. Again, not that they would be able to prove the sex crime, because you'd just be like, no, I'm going to the legal place, is what you'd say, but sufficient to forfeit your cash. Because they would just say, well, no, why do we believe you that you're going to the legal one when all the illegal ones are better, says the cops, right? Like they know. But this is it's a growing problem. This is an ongoing problem. It's growing in popularity. It kind of breathes. It flares up and it goes back down. It flares up and it goes back down. People get really riled up about it. But these cases happen every day. Airports are the worst. Do not fly with large sums of cash. If you fly with large sums of cash, they're going to fucking take them. You have to declare the cash. Once you declare the cash, they inspect everything you own. Don't do it. I've never done this, but the horror stories are rife. There are plenty of them out there. People going. There's one guy, he owned a casino, a legal casino, like just a small one. He went to go buy some like slot machine things at an auction. And so he went down, I think he had $120,000 or something like that he was going to use to purchase these things. And they just took it. And it took him 6 years to get it back. It's fucking crazy. But the government sees no problem with this. I mean, this is what they do. They have permission from themselves to take your stuff. Isn't that great? And again, they're not suspecting you of a specific crime that they'll have to prove. And then, at the end of it, you get your evidence back or whatever. Nope. They just go, we're going to go ahead and just take that. And it goes into the evidence locker for a little bit. And then the attorney initiates forfeiture proceedings. And unless you're going to pay six figures to get your 40 grand back. That's fun, right? That's fun. Fantastic. Levin DeLime says, is Nick obsessed with hookers? No, but it's everybody talks about drugs when they're talking about civil asset forfeiture. It's always about drugs. But since we had a convenient example of someone going to do an activity that was perfectly legal where he was doing it, but is illegal everywhere else, and he had to cross state lines, it's one that's kind of an interesting idea. Because if Russell Greer wasn't going to the Bunny Ranch or the county where prostitution was specifically legal in Nevada, he was going to any of the other counties where prostitution is illegal with the intent to actually, no, not if he was doing that, but if the police thought he was doing that, then they could technically forfeit his cash, the cash that he had on him, if they had any reason to stop him or inspect his belongings for anything. I mean, if he got sniffed at a airport because he smelled like a Walmart bathroom in his tuxedo, and the drug dog thought he smelled nice, right? Like, my drug dog's like, oh, I love Walmart bathrooms, and then it sniffs him up, and they're like, oh, this guy's probably got heroin or whatever. They could just seize the cash then, because they're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to go find your hooker. Like, it's not going to go well. But he was going to do perfectly legal activity. But it doesn't matter. That's the whole point of civil asset forfeiture, is that the activity is legal. It's just the police's opinion on what the activity might be, that it might be illegal. That's when they get to take it. It's just good. It's good. John Ruck says, why does it say the same thing twice in the title? Because we're talking about the same thing twice in two different ways. This one was cops stealing money. The next one is cops stealing money. Nick doesn't like standing, not even when he pees. I need to find a way to control the stream while standing up. That's a pee joke that was unintended. I mean, control the live stream. Look, I have control over my pee streams, okay? But I need to find a way to control the live stream while standing up before I can get that going. And frankly, I've been more focused on other things. Let's get this. Anyway, civil asset forfeiture, ongoing problem. We talk about it from time to time because it comes up from time to time. And it's not going away. That's the other problem with civil asset forfeiture. It's too juicy. Why would attorneys and law enforcement want to get rid of civil asset forfeiture? Do you know how many prosecutors have gambling problems? I know of at least one. Not in my county. This is actually in St. Paul, and it was years ago. I don't know. I don't even know if he's still there, but he had a bad online poker problem. And that dude was moving money. This is a prosecutor moving money from his lawyer's trust account to cover his gambling stuff in his private bank account all the time. And I was like, this is illegal in Minnesota. You're the guy who's supposed to be enforcing this law, and you're breaking it every day. Like, you're getting overdraft fees constantly for this. And you know what you do, though? You refund the prosecutor's overdraft fees just in case. Because what if you don't? What if you don't refund the prosecutor's overdraft fees? Oh, it's speeding. That's attempted murder. You're fucked. No, but the dude was moving money all the time. At the risk of sounding slanderous, I dare say illegally moving money from a lawyer's trust account into a personal account to cover gambling debts. Not, as a state prosecutor, I'm not sure he was going against a billable IOLTA. So I'm not really sure how that was happening. It wasn't my job to ask those questions. But imagine you're that guy and you've got your gambling addiction and you're dumping money all the time. And then you find out you can just take Reggie's money because you say Reggie's money is going to go towards a drug deal, when Reggie's actually putting an impoverished child through Jewish private school. That's what he's doing. You have to pay it in cash, right? It's the rule. The rule is Reggie was bringing that little child to the private school, and he knows he's got to pay in cash with his bag of money. And the cops think that Reggie's a drug dealer because they're racist. Because when they see a Jewish guy, they think drug deal, obviously. And so then they take Reggie's money. The prosecutor wants that to happen because the prosecutor gets to take part of the money personally. And it's amazing. They don't want to get rid of this practice. It's always going to be around. It's always going to be there. So here we go. We've got, this is another one of cops stealing money. Why is my nose so red? I would assume capillaries. Not a biologist. My ear's way more red. This one in particular. Damn. It's toasty. Oh, here we go, guys. 6 California police officers paid someone to take college courses for them. Now they face prison. Okay. I like this story, actually. I really like this story because I'm on the cop side on this one. I'm on the cop side. Hear me out. Hear me out on this. I think that these guys are innocent. The troubled Antioch Police Department faces another blow as a second police officer was convicted last week in a scheme to fraudulently obtain college degrees for higher pay. Jim Cox, your name rocks, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Jim. Really appreciate that. Morteza Amiri, 33, and 5 others from the Antioch and Pittsburgh police departments falsely claimed they had obtained bachelor's degrees in criminal justice and a ploy to qualify for higher pay, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of California said in a statement Friday. Well, that's funny. Did they falsely claim to have obtained them? I think they got the bachelor's degrees. They falsely obtained them. I don't think they falsely claimed to obtain them. They got them. But the officers actually hired someone else to complete the courses online. Are the ads going crazy? I'll turn them off. I have not done this ad thing, this YouTube automated ad thing. If they're going nuts, I'll pause them for a while. So they paid people to take the courses, unlocking raises and financial incentives that they had not earned, prosecutors said. The other 5 pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud earlier this year. Amiri's case was the only one to go to trial. Amiri was also caught up in the Antioch Police Department's racist texting scandal in 2023. Now, no, brother, you just hired someone to send your racist text. That wasn't you. It wasn't you. You've got your defense built in. They know you're not doing the work. They know you're not putting it in. You hired someone for those racist texts, just like your fake degree. But here's why I'm on the cop side. Here's why I'm on the cop side. Merely having the degree should have no automatic impact on their compensation, right? Like, maybe I'm crazy. I am. When I think cop, I don't go, you know what would make this cop automatically better? A bachelor's degree in criminal justice. To me, that seems absolutely irrelevant to whether or not the cop is a good law enforcement officer. Like, the classes might make them a better law enforcement officer, but the degree itself doesn't make you a better law enforcement officer, right? I have a degree in writing. I'm a shit writer. That's fine. I'm not making money writing. I don't have any books or Hollywood scripts or anything like that. So you can't like just go, oh, well, I have a writing degree. I deserve $10,000 more than I was. No, that's not a real thing. If you're like a banker and you get a degree in finance, you don't automatically make more money as a banker. Like, you're still just a banker. Like, you're still just selling people checking accounts and home equity loans or whatever. Now, maybe you get better at it, and not with a degree. You get better at being a banker with raw charisma and a whole lot like less shame in your life. That's how you do that. But your finance degree isn't going to help you be a banker at a retail branch. So you shouldn't merit more money. In the same way, these cops aren't automatically better cops because they got a criminal justice degree. The knowledge in the classes may make them better cops, but shouldn't they earn it? So I'm on these guys' side. Look, if you have an arbitrary, pointless fucking automatic raise and someone checks some boxes and they're like, oh, blah, 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 I have a piece of paper, I'm worth more money, they should have it. I don't care how they fucking get it. Do you? Actually, that's an honest question I have for you, chat. There's a lot of scandal in the secondary education, post-secondary education communities, right? They had those celebrity or the rich people who were paying for their kids to like get into Harvard and Stanford and all that shit. Has anybody ever explained like why anybody so wait, rich people paid money and their kids got favorable treatment to get into college. So they paid the college money and the college brought their kid. I don't see the problem. Like, is it fair? Well, no, but the Ferrari dealership's the same, right? Like the rich person goes in and buys the Ferrari that I can't buy. I don't see why that's unfair to me, or why does the rich person who buys a Ferrari go to prison? I don't get it. I don't care how you get your degree. Do you? Serious question. Do you guys care? Like if someone paid, like, again, all else being equal, two people who are exactly the same at the job. One of them had the job because they legitimately did all the classes. The other one is the exact same performance-wise, but he paid someone else to do the classes. Do you care? I don't give a shit. That's a weird one to me. Like I just don't value education in that way anyway. I value the work people do, their ability. Typically, it's their ability to generate money for the company in some way, or to preserve money, or whatever. But that's something that's shown. That's not something that a piece of paper says. A piece of paper is an indicator to narrow the field of failure. That's what that's supposed to do. Degrees are supposed to give you a better, like, you step up closer to the dartboard before you throw. That's what the degree is supposed to be for. But a degree shouldn't automatically merit you extra money. Now, some jobs, I guess, doctors, they want them to be specifically trained or whatever. But actually, I don't care either. Like, if the doctor, I know this is a ridiculous hypothetical, but if the two doctors standing next to me are both the same quality wise, I don't care if one got his degree from forging it. Like Leo DiCaprio or whatever in that Catch Me If You Can movie, right? Like, it's a weird thing. We put a lot of value on a college education outcome rather than on the education. The education itself is irrelevant because a 4.0 student's outcome is what matters. The actual learning doesn't matter at all. If a 4.0 student has short-term memory issues and cannot remember past the semester anything they learned, but they get a 4.0 every single class, they get a straight A and they graduate with a 4.0, but at the end of it, they've forgotten everything, then what good is the 4.0 education that they got? The piece of paper says it's good, but it's completely useless and pointless to the person. So why do we value that? Why do we value the outcome rather than the product itself? Is it cope for next shit to your law school? My law school was garbage, dude. Anybody who has pride in your law school, I mean, go for it. I have zero morals. That's why I don't care. I have negative morals, my friend. How dare you? Those rich kids are taking the spot of a kid who actually worked hard and earned their place, but they didn't earn their place because they couldn't pay for it. Right? That's like the guy who earned his place at the steakhouse. Can you afford the ribeye, man? If you can't, I'm sorry. There's an Arby's. Right? What? Earned your place. You're talking about making it, you're talking about it being illegal. Illegal. Like, you don't have a right. You don't have a right to a particular college. Yeah, he stole my place. Where? Like, there's not a place at Princeton that says Joe. It's like, can't wait till I get there. Oh no, Nancy took my place because her mom is on OnlyFans. That's not how it works. You earn scholarships and shit like that. Yeah, you earn scholarships and shit like that, but you don't earn earning a place at a school is because the school gives you the place. If they want to give it to someone else because they give them $1 million, like, it's like you go to the animal shelter and you're like, I'm going to adopt a cat. Look at this one. His name is Whiskers. Oh, he's so cute. Someone's like, I'll pay $1 million to the animal shelter for Whiskers right fucking now. And you're like, wow, this is ridiculous. That was my Whiskers. No, it wasn't. It was just your turn. It was never your whiskers. It was never your whiskers. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I'm much more concerned. Does the person actually acquire the skills, and do those skills apply in the position that they're using for me to care? Like, the piece of paper doesn't matter to the job. I mean, it does for doctors and lawyers and shit like that, but because someone made it that way. But I'm much more concerned with someone being good at what they do than having a paper that says they tried. Whatever. Logan Orr says a toast with your best whiskey. Well, it's sweet tea, my friend. A toast with your best whiskey. Today has been 22 years since I found my mom OD'd dead on the floor. Holy fuck, dude. The same week, 1 year after, my dad was shot over an 8-ball. Damn. First day of freedom I ever had. Oh, well, that was like a sad story turned good. What is happening up here? It's terrible. It's like a sad story turned good, I guess, because it sounds like maybe they weren't the best influences in your lives. So a cheers to you, Logan. I don't have any whiskey, but I'll give you a toast. 22 years. 22 years since, I guess, emancipation from your parents in a jarring way, but one that ultimately may have been a fruitful turn in your life. May the end of their existence be a blessing to the beginning of the rest of yours. Cheers. Joe Moses says, how dare you say I went to Princeton? I didn't say where. Oh, no, Joe, you didn't make it. Nancy got in. I told you her mom was on OnlyFans. Yours wasn't. Turn off the ads. I did. Oh, it only paused them for 10 minutes. That's stupid. Let me see if I can turn them off. Like, here we go. Let's get we'll do that. Hopefully this will change that. Aha! There, they should be off now. Sorry. Let's see. Whew. Anyway, back to this one. I'm still on the cop sides here. Look, I think the only thing I hate more than police are police departments. So here we go. In May of 2020, 2 days after the murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police, Amiri texted another officer about riots in LA over the gorilla that died. Holy shit. He was talking about Harambe. It was a couple years too late. In text presented at Amiri's trial, he wrote to the person hired to take classes that he would pay you per class. Don't tell a soul about me hiring you for this. Why'd you write it down, bro? He wrote, we can't afford it getting leaked and me losing my job. Mission failed. we can't afford this getting leaked. I'm going to rush order my degree to get my pay raise jump started, he allegedly wrote. The other 5 officers convicted of the conspiracy to defraud police departments were Patrick Burren, Amanda Theodosi, a.k.a. Nash. All right. Okay. All right. Amanda Theodosi, a.k.a. Nash. I need to know. I need to know. A.k.a. Nash. Tell me, burly girl, because I need to know. Wait. Come on now. Which one's which? Hold on. It doesn't say which one is which. Here, real quick. Here they are. These are the police officers who paid for their stuff. This guy's handsome. I don't know which one is AKA Nash. I'm not sure how you get that. Like, how do you become an AKA Nash? Anyway. Ernesto Mejia Orozco and Braulio Rodriguez Jalapa. That's got to be wrong. Whoever pronounced that was way off. Who are current or former members of the Pittsburgh Police Department at the time. And Samantha Peterson of the Antioch Police Department, the U.S. Attorney's Office said. Amiri engaged in a calculated conspiracy to defraud his police department of taxpayer funds. His actions were a violation of the law and a grave betrayal of public trust. Why didn't he just do the night classes like online? They were online classes. Why did you just do them? Said Robert Tripp, a spokesman for the FBI, whose funds were currently going to a young person to pay for his fake college. Amiri and his co-conspirators' deception has no place in law enforcement. With this conviction, he now faces the consequences of his action. Each of Amiri's 2 convictions comes with a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. He's scheduled to be tried in a related case in February. Wait, a related case? So another one? 20 years. What'd you do? I paid a homie to take classes for me. Oh, go to prison. How long? 20 years. Fuck me. Oh my gosh. That's fucking insane. Wow. Quite frankly, Samantha Therese says, read Dr. Heather Haying, Dark Horse podcast, open letter in response to male boxer in Olympics and to Kamala Harris's candidacy. Well, yeah, that's 2 men who shouldn't be there. It's an epic takedown of Guardian feminist journalists. Okay, I'll check it out. I'm not going to read it right now. Do you want me to read it right now? I got 2 other stories first. My spirit to yours says, I wonder if the guy that was buying slot machines had to pay taxes on the 120K seized. Also, does the government make interest off the seized money in a bank account? Seems like that would add up. Yes. But the amazing thing, I think that guy ended up getting his money back. But yeah, okay. I'm going to make some assumptions. They probably vary by jurisdiction. I believe if you prevail on recovering your cash in an asset forfeiture case, I believe you are entitled to interest, some reasonable interest. But don't quote me. I don't know for sure. But that's great. So, here we go. But yeah, so we've got these cops. First of all, civil asset forfeiture is just a great thing, right? It's just wonderful that our police can take whatever they want. But these cops had to take it a step farther to increase their pay. They got fake degrees. Actually, they got real degrees by paying other people to take the classes for them. And it just occurred to me that you could pay someone to take online classes for you. Huh. Do people do that? I mean, I know I just went on like a tirade about how I don't care that people do that, but do people actually do that? Do you pay twice for college? Like you pay to get in and then you pay someone to do it? Why don't you just do it? Haven King says, why don't they put a time limit for cops to press charges or give back the asset plus interest? Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Because they don't want to. They don't want to do that. They like the money. So that's nice. Okay, let's find. Oh, what else? Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's move on to Disney real quick. This one's offensive. Like actually, this one rankles at my cockles, and my hackles are raised. Here we go. Disney wants a wrongful death lawsuit thrown out because the plaintiff had Disney Plus. This is the extreme, y'all. This is fucking fantastic. After a doctor, no, I don't want to donate. After a doctor suffered a fatal allergic reaction at a Disney World restaurant, Disney is trying to get her widower's wrongful death lawsuit tossed like a salad by pointing to the fine print of a Disney Plus trial he signed up for years earlier. Okay, so get this. Homeboy goes to Disney, eats some nuts, has an allergic reaction, dies. They sue. They say there's wrongful death. We told you he didn't want that nut inside him, but you put the nut deep inside him and he got sick from it and he died. That's what happened. We'll read it in just a minute. And so they sue for that because he shouldn't have had the nut inside of him. They sue. And Disney says, you did a trial of Disney Plus years ago. And in the fine print of the trial on Disney Plus, it says that all matters between the company and you will be dealt with through binding arbitration, not through a lawsuit. You waive your right to sue. The fucking trial of Disney Plus, which presumably ended, after 7 days or 30 days or whatever it was years ago. They're now trying to forever bind him to arbitration for all things forever. Disney is amazing like this. His wife died. Oh, well. Maybe he's mad at who put the nuts in her. The Squid says, let's be honest, there's only two ways asset forfeiture is going away. Crowdfunding or a billionaire that doesn't mind burning millions in lawsuits after baiting the cops. Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw asset forfeiture hit that LA safety deposit box, a private safety deposit box company, where they just cleaned out like $15 million in jewelry and shit like that. And they're like, yeah, that was super illegal. And they're like, we don't fucking care. It's still legal. And so that's moneyed individuals there. I think it was like a Beverly Hills place. It's like, so these people all have wealth. They all have the ability to fight this, and not all of them, but several of them have the ability to fight this and really go after it. And still nothing happened. Amazing. Okay. Jeffrey Piccolo. Go on. Oh, Occupant 42 says it's worse than you think. When the guy bought the ticket, it had the same TOS arbitration agreement, but they're bringing up the Disney Plus TOS. No, I know. We're getting to that. Jeffrey Piccolo is representing the estate of his late wife, her name is Canuck Porn. Her name was Canuck Porn? Canuck Porn? Tang Swan? Canuck Porn Tang Swan? That's not real. Come on. Canuck Porn. Sorry, it's Piccolo. Sorry, I can't. A doctor at New York's NYU Langone Hospital. I don't know how to pronounce shit. Who died of an allergic reaction while visiting the Florida resort in October. The couple, along with Piccolo's mother, so he was dying the whole time, went to dinner on the night of October 5th at Raglan Road Irish Pub, a restaurant located within a shopping and dining complex called Disney Springs. Tang's one to no one was highly allergic to dairy and nuts. And they chose that particular restaurant in part because of its promises about accommodating patrons with food allergies, according to a lawsuit filed in the Florida Circuit Court. Look, I've heard about the Irish, and there are rumors that the Irish are nut deficient. I don't know if they're true. They went to the Irish restaurant looking for less nuts. The complaint details the family. I shouldn't be making jokes. This person's dead. That's kind of awful. Name is Organic porn Tangswan. The complaint details the family's repeated conversations with their waiter about Tangswan's allergies. The family allegedly raised the issue up front and in back, inquired about the safety of specific menu items, had the server confirm with the chef they could be made allergen-free, and asked for confirmation several more times after that. And this, of course, is how you have to build this case. Because, like, look, it's not the restaurant's fault that you can't have nuts. It's not the restaurant's fault you can't have nuts. But if you make the restaurant aware and then they negligently nut in your food, then you've got a suit. Then you've got a problem. When the raider returned with Tang Swan's food, some of the items did not have allergen-free flags in them, and Tang Swan and Piccolo once again questioned the waiter, who once again guaranteed the food being delivered to Tang Swan was allergen-free. The lawsuit reads, the three of them ate. See, I wouldn't. I'm not deathly allergic to anything. I have a heat allergy, but it's not anaphylactic. I can't die from it. But if it doesn't have the allergen-free flags, I don't care if no, really, there's no nuts in there. Look, buddy, I will die from it. Please. Or you just go somewhere else. I'm sorry. You have to just not eat it. I know they went there for that purpose, but I'm not saying this absolves Disney of their liability, believe me. But it's just like, it's one of those things where, like, don't die though. The three of them ate and went their separate ways. One day, nuts will find you. Piccolo brought the leftovers to their room while his wife and mother headed for the stores. After about 45 minutes, Tang Swan began having severe difficulty breathing and collapsed to the floor. She self-administered an EpiPen, and an observer called 911. The Piccolos, who had tried calling her multiple times, were eventually told she'd been rushed to the hospital. They went to meet her, and after a period of waiting, were told that she had died. That's really fucking tragic, honestly. The medical examiner's investigation determined that Tang Swan's cause of death was as a result of anaphylaxis due to elevated levels of dairy and nut in her system. Mm-hmm. She had elevated levels of nut in her system. Why would they write this sentence? Come on. Like, people have to read these stories. Piccolo filed suit in February against Raglan Road Irish Pub and Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, U.S. Incorporated, accusing both companies of negligence for preparing Tang Swan's food improperly and for failing to train their employees to guarantee food was made allergen-free as requested. He's seeking more than $50,000 in damages and trial by jury on all issues so triable. The more than $50,000 is probably just a requirement. Wrongful death due to anaphylaxis for a restaurant is going to be more than 50 grand in damages. It's just going to be more. That'll be just the minimum that they have to assert for the case. Disney says the case should be handled out of court because Piccolo created a streaming account. Neither Disney Parks nor its lawyer has responded to NPR's request for comment. They have, however, fought back in legal filings. In late May, Disney's lawyers filed a motion asking the circuit court to order Piccolo to arbitrate the case with them in a neutral third party in private as opposed to publicly in court, and to pause legal proceedings in the meantime. Arbitration is generally considered more efficient and cost-effective method of resolving disputes in litigation. Kinda. And Disney said explicitly in court documents that the main benefit of arbitration is avoiding heavy litigation costs. No, the main benefit of arbitration for Disney is because the arbitrators are probably former Disney executives, lawyers, employees, whoever, industry insiders in a lot of cases, who will routinely favor, at least in part, the business in a place where the law might be more cut and dry. So in a case in court, you have an all or nothing outcome sometimes, unless you're at equity. But if you're a case in court, you have an all or nothing outcome. if you're in arbitration, the arbitrator has the ability to sculpt a solution that is binding and completely different than what you can get in court. So they can actually show some sympathy. They can be like, this person ate a lot of nuts and should have probably known they were just gobbling nuts all day. Like, if they're allergic, they bear some of the responsibility. An arbitrator might find favor with Disney, who has to deal with these kinds of lawsuits, these wrongful death lawsuits or things like that all the time. They might find arbitrators that routinely find in their favor, and they'll do it in private, and there won't be any record of it. And there will be non-disclosure agreements and non-disparagement agreements that accompany the binding arbitration, and the parties will be bound by them. And Disney can keep everything quiet. They pay the arbitrators, and everybody is happy about it. But that's why arbitration is more efficient. It's more efficient for Disney. It is sometimes more cost effective for the consumer. A lot of times there are consumer protections that require Disney to pay the consumer's costs, or at least a part of them. So the consumer will pay, maybe a $250 to $500 fee, which will be a portion of the initial filing fee. Disney would pay like $5,000, for example. That cost shifting recognizes the power disparity between $1 billion corporation and just a person who's at the Disney theme parks. The problem is, though, when you got Disney paying both sides of the arbitration, sometimes being ordered to pay both the legal representation on both sides of the arbitration, Disney's getting favorable results for their money, and they're getting favorable arbitrators. So it's kind of just it's a handshake agreement that often favors corporations. Now, sometimes they get fucked. Like Patreon was getting fucked by Owen Benjamin. I don't know if they still are, but they had something like 200 individual arbitrations, which ended up costing Patreon millions of dollars, or would cost Patreon millions of dollars. I don't know how that ever turned out because it's arbitration. So here we go. The reason it says Piccolo must be compelled to arbitrate: a clause in the terms and conditions he signed off on when he created a Disney Plus account for a month-long trial in 2019. That's insane. Those terms of use, which users must acknowledge to create an account, state that any dispute between you and us, except for small claims, is subject to a class action waiver and must be resolved by individual binding arbitration. Now, presumably, the terms of use no longer attach when the month-long trial is over. And since the month-long trial presumably ended 5 years ago, we would expect that this would be an unsuccessful motion on this ground alone. However, there's more. Disney says Piccolo agreed to similar language again when purchasing park tickets online in September 2023. Whether he actually read the fine print at any point it adds is immaterial. And a lot of people don't realize this. When you buy event tickets, concert tickets, amusement park tickets, plane tickets, train tickets, things like that, when you buy them online, and sometimes when you buy them at a box office, the same thing happens. You're actually agreeing to a set of terms of use or terms of attendance, even for physical events. So a lot of people think they're buying a ticket to a movie, for example, or a ticket to a Broadway show. No, you're actually buying a license to attend a Broadway show in a seat, and that license is revocable. And the revocability of that license is often subject to terms that people would find uncouth. If you find it unfair that some kid's mom paid for him to get into college over you, for example, there have been successful lawsuits where a theater company is sued because someone buys front row Broadway tickets for like $5,000, right? And then Cher or someone shows up, or fucking Celine Dion. And so they move the random people out of the front row. They say, I'm sorry that you paid $5,000 for your tickets. Get the fuck out. And they remove them and they sit down the celebrities there instead, because the celebrities bring more value to the Broadway production because they add hype. They're going to generate buzz about it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They actually often have a term to allow them to remove you for damn near anything, including just a better deal coming along. And they don't always have to compensate you back. Now, you could try and sue them and say that it's unconscionable and go after all sorts of things that you didn't know, you didn't realize you were signing up for it. But these contracts of adhesion, these terms of use, are things that are upheld routinely by the courts. And so this is crazy because so he buys a ticket to go to the park, and they're like, by the way, if your boo dies, too fucking bad. Arbitrate. 7F7 USSTUVGN 9C ADWQQCG. Okay. Says I participated in the Indiegogo mass arbitration with Vox Day. We had 200 plus people. We estimate they were $4 million deep just on arbitration fees, not counting attorneys. Yes, I remember I was talking to Vox about it. And it was very, very interesting to see where that was going. And just doing the basic math on the arbitration fees was pretty wild. I don't ever know how that ultimately ended up. But here we go. And yeah, so they uphold these adhesion contracts all the time. An adhesion contract is a contract that attaches to you that you don't have any real ability to negotiate. You're sometimes aware of its existence, like, oh, you have the fine print, whether you read it or not, but you're bound to those terms. And those terms can be pretty fucking unconscionable before they actually say, oh, no, this isn't okay. They often will allow very sketchy terms into these things. And most of the time they don't ever show up until you're, knee deep in nut and dying from anaphylaxis. So here we go. Piccolo ignores that he previously created a Disney account and agreed to arbitrate all disputes against the Walt Disney Company or its affiliates arising in contract, tort, warranty, statute, regulation, or other legal or equitable basis. The motion reads, arguing the language is broad enough to cover Piccolo's claims. Now, it is. Let's be honest. It is definitely broad enough to cover the claims. The question is not whether it's broad enough to cover the claims. The question is it actionable? Is it unconscionable? Is it a term that should not be allowed? I think it's a pretty easy argument to say, yeah, this is unconscionable. This is Disney sneaking a fast one. No one who's just buying a fucking park ticket or signing up for Disney Plus realizes that they can never in the future ever litigate against Disney again. Like, that's an insane proposition. Sorry, back in 2019, you clicked a thing on your TV because you're just trying to get your kid to watch Frozen so they'll leave you alone for a second. And instead, what happens is 5 years later, when your wife dies, sorry, you can't sue because you really wanted that demo week for Frozen or whatever stupid movie it would have been in 2019. I don't know. But that's not a term that anyone reasonably is expecting to undertake when they're buying a Disney ticket, right? Piccolo's lawyers say Disney's claims are outrageously unreasonable. Yeah. I mean, that should be obvious to anybody. No one, I shouldn't say no one. I'm sure there's a tism or two out there. It is the internet. I would think most of us who are signing up for a service on our TVs are not thinking we can never sue this company again for something unrelated to the service that you're signing up for, right? Like, they didn't die from clicking their remote too hard and getting electrocuted by Disney feedback or something. In early August, Piccolo's lawyers filed a response slamming Disney's rationale as preposterous, bordering on the surreal, and fatally flawed for numerous independent reasons. Yeah. Yes. K to the Swiss says, thanks for the Angel's Envy rye finished in rum barrel suggestion. No alcohol should be allowed to be that smooth. No burn. Dangerous stuff in my book. It is. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's a great one. And there are plenty of other great whiskeys out there at all price points. So if you ever need another recommendation, let me know. Okay, so here we go. There is simply no reading of the Disney Plus subscriber agreement which would support the notion that Mr. Piccolo agreed to arbitrate claims arising from injuries sustained by his wife at a restaurant located on premises owned by a Disney theme park or resort, which ultimately led to her death. They wrote in the 123-page filing. Can you imagine how much he has to fucking pay? Now, the good news is Disney will probably, if he wins, if he prevails here, Disney's going to have to pay his fees. But 123-page filing, fuck me. That's expensive. They confirmed that he did create a Disney Plus account on his PlayStation in 2019. Oh no, it wasn't. But he believes he canceled the subscription during the trial because he hasn't found any charges associated with it after that point. The Squid says South Park warned us about the dangers of terms of service agreements years ago. When will people wake up? Well, now they won't. No, it doesn't matter. That's the worst. That's the worst part, is that people can wake up to adhesion contracts. It's when the courts wake up and say, we've got to stop enforcing these. We've got to realize that what is unconscionable is it should be a way lower bar. These people who sign up for Disney Plus do not think they're waiving their rights to a lawsuit. Except maybe, and this would make sense. It would make sense if you're waiving your rights to a lawsuit related to the services of Disney Plus and limited to the damages that would be actual losses from the service of Disney Plus. That would be something that you should be able to waive, right? If you have a billing dispute, let's not spend $50,000 litigating this in federal court. Let's take it to arbitration. It's going to cost Disney a couple $1,000s. It's going to cost you $250. So presumably you've got a billing dispute in excess of $500 to $1,000. Like, let's say you have a Disney Plus with like Hulu and ESPN or something. It's like $100 a month, and they say you're behind, and you say, no, I'm not. I've been paying, et cetera, et cetera. You could find a way to get to a reasonable agreement that this would be arbitration would be reasonable related to the service itself. But you're talking about a wrongful death lawsuit that's in excess of $50,000, which probably means in excess of $250,000. This is one that, actually merits having a real lawsuit over and should not be solved by binding arbitration related to your fucking remote control on your TV. Piccolo's lawyers accuse the company of trying to deprive Tang Swan's estate of its right to a jury trial. And that's the interesting thing. Of course, the Piccolo, Mr. Piccolo, he's the guy who signed up for Disney Plus. Tang Swan is not alleged to have signed up for Disney Plus. The estate certainly would be a separate entity, and I don't think the estate has a Disney Plus subscription, although it could. But the estate probably doesn't have a Disney Plus subscription, and so they wouldn't be bound by a similar terms of service. The notion that terms agreed to by a consumer when creating a Disney Plus free trial account would forever bar that consumer's right to a jury trial in any dispute with any Disney affiliate or subsidiary is so outrageously unreasonable and unfair as to shock the judicial conscience, and this court should not enforce such an agreement. Of course they should not. Of course they should not. Piccolo's lawyers also took issue with the process itself, saying Disney didn't raise its alleged right to arbitration early enough in the proceedings. They further note that they let Piccolo go through some of the stuff. He incurs a bunch of fees. Then they're like, oh, wait, binding arbitration. This is great. Dallas Guy 98 says there was no tangible consideration for Disney. No, there would be consideration for Disney. Actually, the tangible consideration is the binding arbitration. Okay, so Dallas Guy is bringing up a facet of contract law called consideration. For a valid contract, you have to have consideration. Each party to a contract has to give up something to the other. In this case, Mr. Piccolo is giving up his right to a trial in court, and what he is getting in return is access to Disney Plus. He's agreeing to binding arbitration, but he's giving up his right to bring legal charges. So there would be consideration there. So here we go. They further note that Piccolo didn't bring the lawsuit as an individual, but on behalf of Tang Swan's estate, which did not sign off on any such terms. There was no such estate at the time since Tang Swan was still alive. Disney does not explain how it is possible for Mr. Piccolo individually to bind an estate that did not exist, which is not surprising as there's not a single authority in Florida that would support such an inane argument. Yeah, and that should be the defeat of it right there. Dallas Guy says he never paid them. Consideration does not have to be money. Doesn't have to be money. Consideration is, again, merely the sacrifice of some right. You give up some right that you have. Money would be a property interest or property right in money. or some sort of currency. But yeah, you don't, for consideration, you do not have to specifically give up cash or good. The arbitration provision they added could present a problem for more than just their own client. In effect, Disney is explicitly seeking to bar its 150 million Disney Plus subscribers from ever prosecuting a wrongful death case against it in front of a jury, even if the case facts have nothing to do with Disney Plus. Both sides will get to make their case in front of a judge before long. Court has scheduled a hearing on Disney's motion for October 2nd. This is corporate law, though. This is corporate law. Force everybody into the most favorable position for you because you have the resources for it. And arbitration is, let's not beat around the bush here. Arbitration is a great answer for a lot of people with consumer disputes. Most of their disputes are not 5 to 6 figure plus disputes. Most disputes that people have with companies, even big ones, might push into the $1,000 to $5,000 range. And that's where arbitration lives. That's where arbitration should go. But, Dallas Guy 98 says, fuck arbitration. A lot of people feel that way too. It's, there's a lot of give and take. There's good to it. It can be good if you have some sort of level playing field or some sort of experience in arbitration. It can be quite favorable and you can get creative results. That's what some people really like. I know a couple commercial litigators who like arbitration, and we're not talking consumer versus company. We're talking company to company, business to business transaction. That type of arbitration can be very beneficial in crafting solutions that are not available in a court outside of a settlement. But if you're not going to get to settlement, you can get those creative solutions, and those creative solutions can be crafted by, again, former industry professionals who may better understand the workings of the industry than a judge in a robe who's been sitting on the bench for 20 years, right? Like that person may know nothing about some business to business transaction. Arbitration can be a great way to solve that. It's not always great. And one of the key things about arbitration is you are forfeiting a right to actually have that judge rule in your favor on the law. But hey, who's counting? Who's counting? You got to put sunscreen on your neck. It's the heat, man. It's also probably my lighting. I don't know. Dallas Guy 98 says the people paying for arbitration win. If you deny that, you're a binger. No, I said that earlier. I said that's the whole point of corporations like Disney is they get to often pick the arbitrator, and the arbitrators are industry insiders. That's why what I was talking about just a second ago is that in arbitrations that are like business to business, where there's equal footing, it can be a great form of alternative dispute resolution than a full-on trial. It can get things done efficiently in commercial transactions. Those are the people I know who like arbitration, are commercial lawyers involved in commercial transactions. Most everybody else doesn't. Man. But hey, who's counting, right? It's just Disney being Disney. Disney is one of the most overtly litigious companies in the world. And their litigation is frankly fucking ridiculous. But they have the mouse, they have Pixar, they have Marvel, they have your kids' attention, they have your boring relatives and friends' attention who like only Disney movies or whatever. And they, frankly, I mean, the fucking park experiences are an all-age experience. From birth to death, Disney can entertain people, and they do it really, really well. I know groups of grown men who go to Epcot just so they can try and drink beer at every country's thing. And I'm like, the beer's disgusting. I don't like it, but that's what they do. That's their entertainment. Where else can you do that other than Epcot? I mean, a baseball field, but still, they have something for everybody. They're Their ubiquitous name, a household name across the entire planet. And they're going to push for this all the time. My throat is weak. All right, guys. We're going to wrap up a little early today. I had a couple stories I wanted to get on and talk with you guys. Again, give a little preview of what's coming in a week without giving you any actual preview of what's coming in a week because, well, you'll have to just wait for that. But talking about these stories, talking about civil asset forfeiture, talking about this hilarious fucking college scandal to me. It's, again, hey, here's a thought. Don't offer cops more money because they complete a college course. That doesn't make any sense. Offer them more money when they have some demonstrable skill that makes them better at their law enforcement position. That makes sense to me, but just arbitrary completion of a course shouldn't merit more pay for anybody, really. And that's self-included. Who do we got here? Van Dam says that Kimmy Joe asshole who you modded after C. Goody asked you to and said she'd do things he wouldn't, banned everyone last week. All critical voices. Look how slow your damn chat is now, Mr. Free Speech. Shame. I'll go unban them. He said, mods are a crapshoot, dude. You can ask them to do something. Most of the time, if you have a mod, it's because you don't want to be doing the thing that they're going to do. So, if mods ban people, a whole bunch of people, I'll go in and try and figure out who the fuck got banned that shouldn't be. But if you were banned unjustly or you know someone who was, send me a fucking message with their name. I'll unban them. I don't really care. I know that some of the mods felt like in the moment, some things being said in the chat were not acceptable. I didn't have time to review what those were. I don't get to make those types of decisions while I'm doing a show. But ultimately, I'm not here to, have people banned from the chat forever or anything like that. It's not my goal. Never has been. With that, guys, hopefully that can solve it. Deus Ex Machina Prime says hands at 28. Thank you. Really appreciate that. But with all of that, we will be wrapping up the show. I appreciate you guys coming on today. I did mention earlier that in somewhere that someone said daytime shows, and I am working on them. But my daytimes right now are all about that bass. Not really. They're all about getting ready for these fucking hearings. It's only my entire life. Andres Burzens says, "Oh no, I may have been forced into arbitration with a company that rhymes with Smetty's Bauer. They stole $45,000 from a business I know. Damn." Dallas Guy 98 says, UTD got in trouble for passing cops. They passed them without them showing up. Very nice. Very nice. So anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Check out recadalaw.locals.com. Once I start putting more content on there, I have been very remiss. Again, big shout out to Locals people. Thank you for being there. I have been very lax in doing that. Hopefully there'll be some stuff to talk about soon, but I said my mind most of the time right now is just thinking about my own case, which means that I just want to talk about it. So I can't be online too much because I'll want to talk about it and it's not really the right time. With that, guys, catch you soon. Maybe tomorrow even. Hope you have a good night. Peace. 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 Where's the fucking thing? Here. Yes.